Good morning. As you can see, I'm getting ready to hopefully do another podcast today. Got some time this afternoon, so hopefully I'll be getting that real soon. Just want to say, really good job on the ethics assignment. I tell you, this is really one of the worst cases ever. It just nobody did their due diligence, and when I'm talking about it, everybody, I'm talking about the journalists. Nobody did their diligence. Nobody did the investigation they should have. And in some way, I also, of course, blame the FBI because I thought the FBI was very sloppy in their investigation. And, of course, for them to even remotely think that Jewel had something to do with it. And then, of course, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, that is, for them to go ahead and just say, oh, that's what the FBI says. Well, it must be true. And they just went ahead and printed it, and then all the stories. Some of the things that really get me, and that's just a small 11-minute piece that you guys saw from the New York Times. I can't imagine. Because I know a lot of you, you live in an apartment. I've lived in a garden apartment myself, just like the one that Richard Jewell and his mother lived in. And the steps that you go down to the parking lot, there's not a lot of room. And there was another interview that Richard Jewell had done a couple of years after this, where he says, sometimes you have a couple of cameras, couple of reporters. I had thousands. He's not exaggerating. Okay? You have to understand, this is the Olympics. All right? It was the 100th anniversary of the Summer Olympics. All right? Nothing, and I mean nothing, gets more worldwide coverage than the Olympic Games, because you have so many, almost every single country sends a team, and they send journalists and reporters to cover it. And of course, it being in the United States, in Atlanta, we had thousands of journalists just from the United States there. So what happened is even after the games had ended, almost every country left their journalists there because of this story. So when Richard Jewell's walking out of his house, he's not exaggerating when he says, the cameras. I mean, it was unbelievable, the kind of media scrutiny this guy went through. And it was all because people did not do their due diligence. Or as Richard Jewell says numerous times in an interview right after this, he says, all because someone didn't get confirmation. And he says that word numerous times, confirmation. It was such a shame. And of course, he died at an early age. I think he was 46 or something like that when he died. And he, of course, later married, and his wife and his mom both say that although he did have diabetes before that, he was a little heavy, they attribute his early death to what he went through during the whole Olympic saga. Just ethics. Unbelievable. Well, anyway, now it's time for your film assignment. Especially because, it's funny with the Richard Jewell situation. I remember about 7 years ago hearing that Clint Eastwood was going to make a movie about this, and I was so excited. And then last year the movie did come out, and I was so excited. And then I saw the movie, and I wasn't excited anymore. It's not a really good movie at all. And that's why that's not the film you'll be watching. I was really looking. I'm telling you, 7 years ago, I said, I'm going to use this film for this assignment because it's Richard Jewell. And unfortunately, the movie's just not as good as I wish it was. But there is one that is. And it's a movie that perfectly, in my opinion, and of course I'm a professional, in my opinion, perfectly combines mass media law and mass media ethics into one film. It's an older film, but I fell in love with the film when I was 16 years old. Now, just like a lot of you when you're younger, when you're in mid-late teens, I loved action, I loved suspense, I loved, CGI, like with the Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back had just come out. And yet then this movie comes out, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. It's a very adult movie for me at 16, and, of course, following along with it, especially someone who was interested in the mass media. And probably one of the reasons why I still use this film is, although it's a little older, it really does show how, whether it's a violation of law or the absence of ethics, how the mass media could directly affect someone's life And in this case, with this film, what I like so much about it is because it's the newspaper. And newspapers, not nearly as influential as they used to be, not nearly as the go-to place for news as it used to be, but when it was, and when you see what happens in this film, you realize how, whether it's violating mass law or not doing due diligence with the ethics and ethical issues that reporters face, that newspapers could really destroy a person's life, especially if the mass media gets it wrong. So you've got your assignment. You have until Sunday night, November 22nd at 8 p.m. to get it in. And I do hope that you enjoy the film. Yes, I know it's older. And there's no CGI, sorry. All right? It's not a Marvel comic or DC comic movie. All right? But I do hope you sit down and enjoy it and realize that, sometimes, who knows what can happen. All right? All right, you guys take care, and I look forward to reading your papers.